Okay. All right, everyone, welcome back to Koil Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org and, of course, Yeshiva Teres Shimon. Okay. And, I thank everyone that listens, and I appreciate all the comments that I get back from people, literally from Me'ar B'Kanfei Zaretz, from all over the world. It's unbelievable, really. Bemes. Okay. And we're gonna learn, of course, with Siyata D'Shmaya, of course, and this is Parshat Beshalach. So this is a very exciting parsha. This Shabbos is also known as Shabbos Shira, right? This is the Shabbos of the song, right? We sang the song Oz Yoshia Moshe, right? And Miriam took out her tambourine, and then she took the ladies, and they sang their song. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful parsha. We became much wealthier than we were when we left Mitzrayim, right? And it's an interesting thing why the Mitzrayim we'll talk about many things, but it's an interesting thing why the Mitzrayim decorated and they went out with all of the gold and the diamonds and whatever precious stones they had, and they adorned their chariots. Now, you're going to war, you have to ask the question. You're going to war, so you take your armor, you take your equipment, your bow and arrow. They were taking their spears or whatever they were taking. But why money? You ever think of that? Rav Zush, you ever think of that question? Okay, so it's a very, very important, a very, very important lesson to learn in psychology. A very important lesson to learn. The Mitzrayim they wanted the money back. They wanted the money back, but they didn't want anyone to know that they wanted the money back. So therefore, what they did was they chased after Klal Yisrael with all of their wealth on the wagons to show, hey, we have plenty of money. What do we need money for? What do we need money for? That's what they were trying to do, to deceive everyone, to think that they didn't want the money because they put out more money. They didn't realize that was going to be to their, to their demise. But it's just an amazing thing. Many times when you deal with people, they tell you, oh no, I'm not like this, and I'm not like that, I'm not like this. Be careful. What they're telling you they're not like, that's probably exactly what they are like. That's really like the Mitzrayim. They went out with all of their wealth because it makes no sense why they would have adorned their wagons with all of their wealth. All right? That's one thing. Okay, so there's many, many, many things to learn. So what we're going to do is we'll talk outside, and we'll go over like the overall parsha. And we start the parsha of Parshat Beshalach Paro Yisrael, right? V'le'nochem elikim derech eretz plishtim ki karevu, right? We know this is the long parsha, but it's a very important question to ask ourselves here for a second. Parshat Beshalach Paro. Well, okay, wait a second here. Wasn't it Hashem that sent us out? Maybe it would have been right to say Moshe sent us out, Moshe and Aaron, maybe Miriam, right? The schus of the tzaddikim. But why does the Torah say Vayi Beshalach Paroi, that Paroi sent us out? So we see this idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays back. He doesn't hold back the schar from anyone that's due any kind of reward. Hashem doesn't hold it back. You see that over here with Paroi. Paroi, if anything, he wanted us to be enslaved forever in Mitzrayim. He didn't want us to go out, right? Paroi had no intentions of letting us go out. He wanted us to stay there. He didn't care what? And you see that he went through all of that trouble with the 10 makos, right? With the 10 makos, and he still only with makos b'chayvus did he say go. Now, you see this concept that Hashem pays back wicked people many times. Let's talk about one. Coming up now is coming up Purim, right? We have Tu B'Shvat and then Purim, right? It's less than 40 days to Purim now. Haman HaRasha Yimach Shemam, right? Haman HaMolech Yimach Shemam B'Zichron. But we said that Haman, we had his Einiklach learning Torah in Bnei Brak. What? Haman? Is Einiklach learning Torah in Bnei Brak? What is this with Haman? So really, it's taught. The Chazal tell us it's a Masechtas Megillah. It's brought in the Gemara. That really Haman was a greater help for Klal Yisrael than even all of the Nevi'im. You go through all the Nevi'im, and all the Nevi'im were working so hard to help us do tshuva, but it went in one ear, went out the other ear. It didn't help. Haman comes up with this plan that he's gonna destroy all of Klal Yisrael in one day. And what happens? We do tshuva. We do tshuva. We did tshuva. Could you believe that? This guy Haman accomplished more with his decree than all of the Nevi'im put together, with all of their nevuah, to get us to do tshuva. That's all the Nevi'im were doing. They were crying for us to do tshuva. We didn't get it. We didn't get it. Haman comes along. We got it. We got it. Okay. We had many other Rishayim also. We had Sancheriv, right? It was at the time of Chizkiah, by Melech Chizkiah, right? Sancheriv came. Sancheriv came to attack Eretz Yisrael. It was Pesach time. And he came with 180,000 men. He came with 180,000 men. And these guys were not friendly people. They were coming to kill. He wanted to destroy Eretz. He wanted to destroy Klal Yisrael. And what happened was Chizkiah said to the people, "Don't worry. Don't worry. It's Pesach. Go home now. Go home now. Make your Seder. Make your Seder. Enjoy the matzah. Enjoy the maror, the charoisis. Enjoy everything. And don't worry. Everything will be okay." That's amazing, right? And we know the next morning, they got up and they looked over the walls of Yerushalayim. They looked over the walls and they saw that 180,000 men had died in their sleep. All these soldiers had died in their sleep. We were saved from Chizkiah, from Sancheriv. Unbelievable. Now we know that from Sancheriv, with his 180,000 men, right? Shmaya and Avtalia came from Sancheriv. Those were his Einiklach. Shmaya and Avtalia, which was the Rebbe of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, right? The Rebbeim. These are the Rebbe, the greatest people. They're converts that came from. You see again how HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays back, because again, Sancheriv helped Klal Yisrael to do tshuva, helped Klal Yisrael to have the Seder, all of these things, and he got paid back again. We had another one, Sisera. Sisera came in the time of Devorah and Neviah. Right? We had Devorah and Neviah, and Sisera came, and he came with his men, and he wanted also to destroy Klal Yisrael. He wanted also to destroy Klal Yisrael. Of course he did, like everyone, all the other Rishayim do. Like we have today, we have the Hamas, and we have the Houthis, and the Hezbollah, and the Iranian Mishigayim. They want to destroy Klal Yisrael. That's all they want to do. Right? Good's going to come from that too, you'll see. Look what happened from by Sisera. The story goes like this, that again, the Devorah HaNeviah told everyone, make tshuva, it's going to work out well, don't worry. And they did that. And Sisera went into the tent with Yael. He liked this lady Yael. He went into the tent with her. He thought he was gonna have be intimate with her. That's what his intentions were. She got him drunk. He fell asleep. She took the peg that holds the tent and she stuck it through his head. Saved us. You know who came from Sisera? You know who was his descendant? How about Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva was a descendant of Sisera. These are pretty good prizes they got, right? Pretty good prizes, right? Sancheiriv gets Shmai and Naftalia, and Sisera gets Rabbi Akiva. Unbelievable. So you see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu will always pay back. Now, always Mida Taiva Meruba, right? They made a Kiddush Hashem. But they didn't want to make a Kiddush Hashem. Do you think Parai wanted to make a Kiddush Hashem? That was the last thing on his mind, to make a Kiddush Hashem. The last thing on his mind. Parai didn't want to do that. And of course, Sisera didn't want to do that. And Sancheiriv didn't want to do that. And of course, Haman didn't want to do that. But they all made a Kiddush Hashem. Parai, you can also say like this. You can also say with Parai, why was it Parshat Beshalach Parai? Well, let's think about it. Moshe Rabbeinu, we said, was in charge, was the one that took us out of Mitzrayim. But Moshe Rabbeinu grew up where? He grew up in Parai's palace. He's sitting on Parai's lap. Moshe Rabbeinu grew up with Parai in his own house. Had Parai only have known that, right? You see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such a good sense of humor, right? He has a great sense of humor. He has, Parai's trying to kill all the boys because he knows one of them is going to take them out. And he's doing anything he can. But the one boy that was going to be the one to save Klal Yisrael, he raises in his own house. Fascinating. So you really can say that it was Parai. And here's another reason why you can say that it really was Parai. We know, of course, it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we can give the credit to Parai. Why can we give the credit to Parai? Because he actually raised Moshe Rabbeinu. That was an interesting idea, and we can always understand now, any time that we make Baruch Hashem, a Yid makes a Kiddush Hashem, could you imagine the intention, when you have intention that you want to make a Kiddush Hashem, and you make that Kiddush Hashem, how great that Kiddush Hashem is? How great it is? You can't even imagine. If you see here, these were Rishayim. That did not want to make a Kiddush Hashem, but they made it even against their will, but they did, and they get the greatest reward. Shmai, Naftali, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Meir. These all came from these Rishayim. Unbelievable. So that's why we should always work on making a Kiddush Hashem anytime you can. Make that Kiddush Hashem, because if you do, you have no idea the schar that you get. And it's not hard to make a Kiddush Hashem. You could be in a store, you could be anywhere, and you see a guy, and you say good morning to the guy, you give the guy a smile. That's a Kiddush Hashem. You're wearing a yarmulke, and you're wearing a kippah on your head, and you say good morning, and you give them a smile. How are you, sir? How are you, ma'am? Right? Open the door for them. Right? That's a Kiddush Hashem. They see you wearing a yarmulke, and you open the door for the guy. And you see someone, you help them with their packages. You're making a Kiddush Hashem. That's a Kiddush Hashem. We don't understand the value of doing these things. I mean, it seems so simple, but it can change the whole idea and value of the person just by you giving the person a smile and saying good morning. Unbelievable what you can accomplish. And we have to realize, take that to heart. Here you see these Rishoyim, that they were not looking to make a Kiddush Hashem, but they did make a Kiddush Hashem. Could you imagine? Alachas kama v'kama, mida toiv meruba, 1,000 times. When you want to make the Kiddush Hashem, how great that is, and what the schar with that is, unbelievable. Okay, let's go on now. Then it says, v'chamushim olu mimitzrayim. V'chamushim olu mimitzrayim. It says that chamushim. So Rashi gives us two pshatim, right? Rashi says chamush means also to be armed, right? They ask you here in Israel, are you armed? Are you armed? They ask you if you're armed. Neshek, chamush, okay? Same word, all right? Armament, armed. But chamushim also means a fifth, which means that only 20% of Klal Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim. So it said there were 600,000 that went out of Mitzrayim, but that was only 20% of the original amount. What happened? There were those that were in Mitzrayim, and they were comfortable there. You know, people get comfortable and they don't want change, right? People, it's human nature. You're comfortable where you are. People don't like change. They don't like change. Right? So they said, Moshe says, we're going to leave Mitzrayim and we're going to go to the next land. We're happy. We're here. Look, I have my house here. I have everything here. Why do I got to go? Hashem said, that's all right. That's all right. Hashem said, okay, but I like what I am here. And too many of them said that. We have to ask ourselves that question today. We're all hoping for Mashiach to come. Are we all ready to leave? Are we all ready to pack up and leave? That's the question we have to ask. Right? It's a very important question to ask. It's a very, very important question. On this, there was a beautiful mashal from the Chafetz Chaim, the Holy Chafetz Chaim. And he told over a story, he told over a parable, right, to help understand life a little bit. And I'm going to share this parable with you. We said this before, but it's always worth to repeat this story from the Chafetz Chaim. It goes like this. There was a family that was very, very poor. They didn't have anything. And you know, the way it used to be was the father, right, the breadwinner of the family, would go traveling. He would go traveling for some time, and he would make the money, and then he would come home. So this father told his family, I'm going off. I'm going to try to find some diamonds and bring home some diamonds. And they said, okay, we wish you well, Tati. We wish you well. Go, be well, be matzliach. Okay, he left. He went on his trip. He traveled for a while. He came to an island. And on this island, he gets off the boat. And he's walking around and he sees these diamonds everywhere. He starts putting some diamonds in his pockets. And the guy comes over to him and tells him, hey, what are you doing? He says, there's all these diamonds over here. This is what I came for. No. On this island, wax is very, very, the highest commodity that you can find on this island is wax. He says, really? Wax? Okay. Wax? Okay, wax. We'll get wax. Okay. So he started to collect wax, and he learned how to make wax, and he became very wealthy on the island with his wax. He became very wealthy. All right? He stayed there for about 15 years. That was a long trip, right? And he packed up, and he got back on the boat with all his wax. He took all his wax with him. That's the commodity. He went on the boat, and the boat started to set sail, and it was the summertime, and it was very hot. What happens to wax when it gets very hot? It melts, right? Candle, wax, melts. You had nothing. It all melted. It was nothing. He comes back home, and he finally comes to the door. Could you imagine the family? Could you imagine? They see their father after 15 years. Oh, he's back. Oh, we can only imagine what he has. And he comes back, and he has some bags of wax. And they say, Dad, what are we going to do with this? He says, oh, no, this is a commodity. What? What do you mean this is a commodity? No, this on the island that I was on, they told me this is the commodity. And I collected a lot of wax. I lost some of it on the boat because it melted. All right, but hey, look, I got a lot. They started to laugh at him. Dad, wax is okay, but what happened to the diamonds? You went to collect diamonds. He said, I came to the island and there were a lot of diamonds, but I didn't, they told me that the wax was more important. So I worked on that. It worked out after when he went to sleep that night. He looked in his pocket, he was emptying his pockets. And he had 2-3 diamonds that he put in his pockets originally when he left, when he got to that island originally. He had something. So the Chafetz Chaim said, that's our life. That's us. He says, we have the Torah and all the mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs that we have in the Torah are all kihem chayenu v'oirech yameinu avam nege yoyim v'aloyla. Those are all diamonds. Those are all treasures. But they tell us, no, go get this. This is important. No, that's important. In the Chafetz Chaim said it was wax, but it could be anything else. It'll tell you it's money, stocks. Some people play now with this cryptocurrency, and they play with this thing and this. This is all important. This is what's important. And people fall. We fall for it. We fall for it. And then after 120, we come upstairs and they ask us, what happened? They told us that the wax was important. Only a fifth went out of Mitzrayim, 20% went out of Mitzrayim. But we have to realize, and that we have to take, especially this time that we're in now. We're in the weeks of Shovavim, right? We're in the weeks of Shovavim, which is Shemais Va'era Boy Beshalach Yisrael Mishpatim, right? We're in the midway. We're midway in Shovavim. We have to take the time and we have to make tshuva. We have to work on our Shmiras Einayim. We have to work on different things. We have to work on Kedusha. That's what the whole idea of Shovavim, the Arizal taught us that. Okay, now, and then it says, the Torah goes on, it says, Vayikach Moshe es atzmais Yosef. Vayikach Moshe es atzmais Yosef. Moshe he went and he got the atzmais Yosef. So we know the Medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Shem on a piece of cloth, something. He wrote one of the Shemus of Hashem. He put it in the water in the Nile, and the Aron of Yosef came up. The Aron of Yosef came up, and he put it on his right shoulder. While the other people were collecting the money, right? While they were collecting the money from the Mitzrayim, like Hashem told them, that was a mitzvah. Moshe Rabbeinu said, wait a second, I am going to go get the Atzmas Yosef. Now, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the end of Sefer Bereshis, right? When it came to Vayechi, right? At the end of the parsha, we end off the finale of Sefer Bereshis, and Yosef died, and we put him in a box in Mitzrayim. That wasn't such a nice finale to end off the Sefer. that Yosef was died, and he put him in a box in Mitzrayim. Shkoyach. That's how you end off the Sefer? But that was the beginning of the Geula, was with Yosef in the box in Mitzrayim. Why? Because we know that when we came to the Yam Suf, and the Yam Suf said to Moshe Rabbeinu, "You want me to split? Why should I split?" Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Because we gotta save the people here." The Yam Suf said, "No, excuse me. I'm older than you." What do you mean? Well, I was created on the third day of creation. You were created on the sixth day of creation. So why do I have to listen to you? You listen to me. Hashem told me that I have to stay and run as a water. So I'm doing my job. Who are you to tell me not to run my job the way I run my job? Who are you to tell me that? So then it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was with Moshe Rabbeinu. And then the Yam Suf saw HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Aron of Yosef HaTzadik, Vayonos, and it skedaddled. The water split. It wasn't gonna start up. It wasn't gonna start up with the Aron of Yosef HaTzadik and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course. That's why Yosef HaTzadik, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was working on getting the Atzmas Yosef. And it says that he took it Imai. He took the Atzmas Yosef Imai. What does that mean, he took it Imai? He took it with him for eternity. That mitzvah that he went to get the Aron of Yosef when everyone else was working on taking more money. Moshe Rabbeinu went to get the schar mitzvah of taking the atzmos of Yosef, the holy bones of Yosef HaTzadik. The holy bones of Yosef HaTzadik. Unbelievable to understand the Moshe Rabbeinu, understand the idea of Yosef HaTzadik and how the idea of the tzit, how the whole thing of it, and that's the whole idea of Shovim really works around the midah of Yosef, which is the midah of Yesod. Right? We go on in the parsha, and it says that Hashem haylech lifneim yoimam ba'amad onan, right? And at night he went ba'amad eish. Hashem was traveling with us, and we had protection. We had the Ananei HaKavod. Remember, we have Sukkot, right? So Sukkot, we have two things we have to remember on Sukkot. What are the two things? We have to remember Besukkos Yeshu, where we sat in booths. And we also have to remember the Schach is the Ananei HaKavod. Right? We had the Ananei HaKavod protecting us during the day. Right? The desert is very, very hot. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the cloud. So he put the cloud to shield from the heat of the desert. Right? So that was the cloud. And then at night, the desert gets cold. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the fire. And the fire was what warmed us at night, and it gave us the light. The fire warmed us, and the fire gave us light. Okay, now what happened over here? Next thing is, Vayagid lemelech Mitzrayim ki barach ha'am. They came and told Melech Mitzrayim that the nation, the Jewish people, fled. What does it mean? What do you mean they told him? Who told him? Who came and said? It says Vayagid lemelech. Who told the Melech? What happened? The story is amazing. Rav Nassan explains something so special. Something so special because it's just taken for granted. Vayagid lemelech. But what does it mean Vayagid? Who was that? It was the Amalek. Amalek came to Paroi, and Amalek said to Paroi, the Jewish people left, and he riled up Paroi. He riled him up. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is v'yachazek eslei Paroi again. And then Paroi went to chase after Klal Yisrael. What's this idea with Amalek? How does Amalek fit in over here? So we understand like this. Amalek had a hold on the Bechayrim of Mitzrayim. Amalek had a hold on them, on the Bechayrim. They were connected to the Bechayrim. Why? Because it says Reishis Goyim Amalek. Right? Reishis, the first. So Amalek had a connection to the Bechayrim. The Bechayrim are the Reishis, the first. And every time there was another Makkah, the Bechorim, the firstborns, were the upper echelon of Mitzrayim. And the Mitzrayim looked up to them. And Amalek would deal with the Bechorim and tell the Bechorim like this, you know what? You manage this Makkah, you'll manage the next one. Don't give in to them. Don't give in to them. You don't have to give in to them. And each and every Makkah that happened the same thing. And that's why Hashem made Makkahs B'chayros. That's why Hashem made the last and final Makkah, that final Makkah B'Patish, that was able to knock out and get us out of Mitzrayim, was Makkahs B'chayros. Why? Because now Amalek had no one to tell the advisors of Paro. They were the advisors. They're all dead. They're all dead. How are they going to tell Paro anything? They can't tell Paro anything. They're all dead. If they're all dead. So now Amalek said, you know what? We don't have anyone to do our dirty work for us. All right, so we'll go and we'll tell Paro. And that's what they did. They went and they told Paro. They went and they told Paro. Unbelievable. And then at the end of the parsha, again, we see Amalek, after the Mitzrayim are drowned, and there's no more Mitzrayim, right away what happens? Amalek comes to attack us. And they wage war with us. They had no henchmen, no one to deal with it. They had to deal with it themselves. And that's why Amalek came in at the end of the parsha, this parsha. So let's get to that. So let's see. Okay. Now, Vayichazek Hashem eslei Paro, and he chased after Klal Yisrael. Where did they get the horses from? Right? They had horses. Wasn't there the Makkah of Dever? Wasn't there the Makkah of Barad? Right? The Dever and the Barad. It killed out the animals. So where did they have animals from? So the Medrash says that Paro made deals with the Malachim, the kings that were around him. And he said to them, look, I have beautiful chariots, but I have no horses. So come with us now, and we'll fight the Jewish people, and we'll come back with the booty, and we'll split the booty. And they said, okay. And they went. And they brought their horses. Another opinion is that there were some horses that remained, but he had 600 chariots. 600, that's a lot of horses. Right? He went with a lot of horses. Right? So anyway, that's where he got the horses from. Right? And okay, then we go on, and the Jewish people then were very worried. Right? They were very, very worried. Why? Because they had the raging water in front of them. Right? They had the water in front of them. And they had Paro with his army chasing behind them. It's unbelievable. But don't forget, Trevor, you have to remember one thing. We had the Amud Ana, right? We talked about the Amud Ana first. That Hashem had the Amud Ana. And that cloud was there. And that cloud was there, and it was a buffer. It was a buffer between Mitzrayim and Klal Yisrael. And Mitzrayim was throwing their arrows. And they were shooting their spears and shooting their arrows. And the Ananei HaKavod accepted all of the arrows, everything. Nothing penetrated the Ananei HaKavod. Nothing penetrated it that let it to go through and to harm Klal Yisrael. Nothing. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu had on the other side of the Anan, he had the fire that was lighting the way for us and warming the path for us. Fascinating. Hashem had both the fire and the cloud out at the same time. The cloud was there. Why? Because the Mitzrayim shouldn't benefit by the light. And they were in total darkness again. Whatever the moonlight, the light they gave off the moon, the cloud covered it. There was no light and nothing. And they were shooting and nothing was happening. But they didn't care. Hashem is leiv para. He said, we're going, I'm going, I don't care. He was so brazen. So brazen. And they went in. And then the Yam Suf split. It said, Nachshon ben Aminadav, he walked into the water first. And he walked into the water up to his neck, up to his nose. And then with Aaron of Yosef, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu coming down, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu standing there, Vayonos, the Yam Suf split, the Yam Suf split apart, split open. And we know it was an amazing, amazing miracle. It was an amazing, amazing miracle. The Yam Suf didn't just split. The Medrash tells us that we had beautiful, like marble floors. Beautiful marble floors. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the Yam Suf, that he raised up the ocean bed. That he raised up the ocean bed so we should have to walk down a deep incline to go into the Yam Suf. He made it flat. It was flat for us. So we walked on a beautiful marble floor. It was cool on the feet. It was nice. It was delightful. We had the fire. Unbelievable. And then it said that we had anything we wanted as we walked through the waters. There were 12 shvilim. There were 12 paths. There were 12 pathways. Each Shevet had their own path. And each Shevet, whatever they needed as they were going there, they wanted to eat fruit, if they wanted to have water to drink, it didn't matter. They had everything there. Everything was catered to them. All in this experience of the splitting of the Yam Suf. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed us such love. Showed us such love. Not that he just split the water and we were saved, but he made everything so beautiful for us. He told us last week's Parsha, B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. You're my firstborn, I love you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves Klal Yisrael. All right. But let's talk about a few more things now. Moshe Rabbeinu was said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what's going to be with this situation? Right before the sea split, what's going to be? And Hashem says like this, Vayomer Hashem al Moshe, Ma titzak Elai. He said to Moshe Rabbeinu, what are you crying? Why are you crying to me now? Rashi says something so beautiful. Ma titzak? Why are you crying? Elai, it's upon me. It's upon me to take care of this problem, Hashem says. It's not for you to take care of. It's upon me to take care of this problem. And I will take care of the problem. It's unbelievable to understand. You learn the Rashi, and it's so beautiful. Ma titzak Elai. Elai, Hashem says, it's upon me. Then there's a beautiful words. Be'ata harim es matcha uniteyes yodcha alayam. The Torah goes on to say to Moshe Rabbeinu, he should harim es matcha. The Holy Klei Yakar has a beautiful piece on this. I believe we learned this before. But again, it's worth always repeating the words of the Klei Yakar. The Klei Yakar says the word harim, lift up. He says harim can also mean to put down. He says it can mean to put down. Harim is matcha, put down your matcha, uneteyes yatcha, and pick up your hands. Alayam. The Klei Yakar says there were some people that were scoffers. They made fun. They were making fun, and they were saying, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're not so great. Moshe Rabbeinu, it's that stick you have. And he did have a very special stick. He did have a very special stick. But they were saying it was his stick. It was the stick. And they were saying, look, if I had the stick, I can also do these miracles. So Moshe Rabbeinu is not so great. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to fix that problem. All eyes are on Moshe Rabbeinu right now. Right? Again, we have the Yam Suf in front of us. We have Paro and his army raging behind us. What's Moshe Rabbeinu going to do now? Hashem says to him in front of everybody, put down your stick and pick up your hands. Put down the stick, pick up your hands. Klei Yakar says like this. All the makkahs that Hashem did, right? The Mitzrayim would say, Etzba Elikimhi. It's the Etzba Elikimhi. Right? And the makkahs that Hashem did, Moshe Rabbeinu used the stick. Right? All the makkahs, the Moshe Rabbeinu had the stick. Moshe and Aaron had the stick. But now the greatest miracle of all of them, the sea splitting, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, put down the stick, pick up your hands. I want the people to see that it's your hands. And again, why the hand? Because when it says the makkah, when it came to the makkah, we said, right? We said it every morning. Right? Vayar Yisrael sayad hagdola asher osa Hashem b'Mitzrayim vayuru am as Hashem vayaminu b'Hashem u'b'Moshe avda. Right? We had fear of Hashem, and we believed in Hashem, and we believed in Moshe, his servant. Why? Because now they saw the greatest miracle of all happened without the stick. Without the stick. He picked up his hands. And that's why we're able to say, Vayaminu b'Hashem u'b'Moshe avda right then. Because it was through that, through the splitting of the sea where Moshe Rabbeinu put down the stick, picked up his hands, we recognize the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu. We recognize the greatness of the tzaddik. It's a fascinating idea. I think so. To me, it was an amazing idea to understand that. And then we say, the next thing after the sea split, what happens? We say, Oz Yoshia Moshe. Can I ask you a question? Was there ever a time that Moshe used that word Oz before? Yeah. May Oz Basi El Parai. Right? May Oz Basi El Parai. From that time I went to Parai. Tichbay des Avodah, right? They made the Avodah so much more difficult for Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu was complaining to Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu got in trouble for that. Hashem said, I'm going to show you the greatness. I'm going to show you what's going to happen to Mitzrayim now. But now Moshe Rabbeinu said, you know what? I'm going to use the word Oz in the proper way now. Oz Yashir Moshe. Now Moshe Rabbeinu uses the word Oz to praise Hashem for the miracles that he experienced, that he took, that came through him. Moshe Rabbeinu saw that now. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, Oz Yashir Moshe. And so did all of Klal Yisrael. We all said the Shira together. It was beautiful. We all said the beautiful Shira together. And that's why this Shabbos is known as Shabbos Shira. Because of the Shira that we sung. The song that we sung. And that's why this Shabbos is called the Shabbos of the song. Right? For that reason. Okay, we go on in the Parsha. It says now, Vayisa Moshe es Yisrael miyam suf vayotzu el midbar shor vayelchu shleishis yamim bamidbar v'loy matzu mayim. Okay, Moshe traveled with Klal Yisrael, right? From the Yam Suf, from the other end of the Yam Suf where they came out, it was the semicircle, right? They say it was a semicircle. We went in a semicircle, so we weren't able to see that the Yam Suf was split the whole way through, and it was our Amunah that kept us going, kept the Yam Suf keep splitting because we couldn't see. We were going in a semicircle, so we had no idea. We couldn't see from the other end. You all right? Now. We went Vayisa Moshe meyamsuf vayetzu el midbar. Right? They went to the midbar. Vayelchu shleishis yamim midbar v'loy matzu. They went 3 days in the midbar and they didn't find water. Chazal learn out from this that you have to read the Torah within every 3 days. Right? From this idea. They didn't find water. Torah is nimshulu l'mayim. Torah is compared to water. A Jew can't go 3 days without listening to Kriyas HaTorah. You have to have Kriyas HaTorah within 3 days. And that's why we have Kriyas HaTorah on Monday, and then we have Kriyas HaTorah again on Thursday. So you have Tuesday and Wednesday in between, and then the third day you have Torah. Then we read the Torah again on Shabbos. So you have Friday and then Shabbos. Then we read the Torah again Shabbos by Mincha and then again Monday. So we never pass 3 days without Torah. Right? Then they came to the next place and the water was bitter. The water was bitter. They called the place Marah. Right? So what did Hashem say? Hashem said, take a stick, take this piece of wood, this chunk of wood, throw it into the water, and then the water will become sweetened. Beautiful. And that's what happened. The water became sweet. Then Hashem says a beautiful thing. Kol ha'machla asher samti b'Mitzrayim le'osem alecha ki ani Hashem reifecha. Beautiful words. It's a long pasuk. I'm just quoting the end of the pasuk, right? It talks about all of the machlas and all of the makas and the things that happened to Mitzrayim. But that's not going to happen to you, Klal Yisrael. Ki ani Hashem reifecha. Because I am Hashem, your doctor. Isn't that nice? To know HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our doctor? HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give all Yidden the refuah shalema. Especially all the pitsuim, all of the injured ones that we have here in Eretz Yisrael, all the injured soldiers and the injured civilians. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Ani Hashem Reifecha. Hashem is our doctor. Rabbi Nachman teaches something so special on this idea, Ani Hashem Reifecha. I'm not going to place on you the same maklas of Mitzrayim. See, Hashem placed the maklas on Mitzrayim to just punish them. Just punish them. No gain, nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends us makas, but He does it for a reason. It's cleansing us. It's to wake us up. It's to get us to do tshuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do tshuva. When the Yid gets the idea and he does the tshuva, so of course the problem goes away, but it's not for naught. It's not for naught. It's special. Hashem says, Ani Hashem Reifecha. Turn back to me and I'll heal you. Turn to me, make tshuva, again, Shovim, the weeks of Shovim, make tshuva, come back to me, because Ani Hashem Reifecha. Okay, then we had after we finished that, then we came to the Parsha of the Manna. We cried to Hashem again. Hey, we're hungry. We have no food. Right? They say that the Isa that was in the butzek, that was in our sacks lasted till now. Pretty amazing, right? It lasted till now, and now they needed food. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the Manna, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them the rules of the Manna. Right? What are the rules of the Manna? The Manna will fall in the morning. You take what you need. Do not take more than you need. For how many people you have in your family and what you're going to be able to consume. Don't take more. And if someone took a little less, it worked out anyway. They were fine. Hashem said, don't take more. And there were those that played the game against our friends Dasan and Aviram, those two rascals. Dasan and Aviram together equal up to the word of tshuva, by the way. Right? They equal up to the word of tshuva. They could have done tshuva. But they left the man over, and it turned terrible. The telayim, worms, and the bugs were in the man. It didn't work. It was no good. And then it came. Then Hashem said, when it comes to Erev Shabbos, put your man, take a double portion, and hence we have the Lechem Mishnah on Shabbos. Right, Shabbos we need to have 2 chalas. Right, when you wash, you have 2 chalas. Why do you have 2 chalas? Because of the Lechem Mishnah. Why do you have Lechem Mishnah? Because the man, you have to take a double portion of the man on Erev Shabbos, and then it lasted fine. Now we know there's also a minhag this Shabbos. You put out bread and different things for the birds. Right, on Shabbos Shiva you put things out for the bird. Why? Does anyone know why you do that? I'll tell you. Dasan and Aviram, again, those 2 rascals, they collected their man on Friday, like they were supposed to. They went out Shabbos morning, and they took their man, and they sprinkled it out on the dirt, on the sand. They wanted to say, and look, the man fell on Shabbos, not like Hashem said. Hashem said it won't fall. But they made it fall. Why did they want to do that? So to put doubt in our minds. To put doubt in our minds of Hashem, serving Hashem. That's all they were trying to do. Like the Erev Rav. And Dasan Aviram, a good set. A good set. So what happened? The birds came along, and the birds all ate up those man. Whatever they put out there, the birds consumed it. And the birds flew off, and nobody knew nothing. And it saved the covenant of Hashem, right? Again, they did something, the birds did something to bring Kvayut Shemayim. And again, Dasan and Aviram lost. They lost. So that was the idea of the mud. Okay. Now, another amazing thing happened. Another amazing thing happened after this. So we ran out of water again. We didn't have water. So we cried again now to Moshe, hey, why did you take us out of Mitzrayim? It would have been better if we died in Mitzrayim, to serve Mitzrayim and to come to the Yam. All of that, those Lashon. That Lashon again. And Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, take the Zakenim, take the elders with you, and go to the rock, and hit the rock. V'yatzu ma'ayim rabim. And the water went out. There's a lot of water that went out. The water went out. And that was the rock that stayed with us all through the 40 years in the desert. Until when? When Miriam Hanaviyah, she passed away, the rock stopped. So you can actually say that this was the original Rolling Stones. This was the original Rolling Stone. This stone rolled with us right through the desert. On every one of our stops. And he gave water to all of our animals and all of our children and all of the people. Everyone had water. Everyone had enough water from this rock in the schus of Miriam Hanaviyah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, this is where Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem told him to hit the rock. Right? So then Moshe Rabbeinu was thinking later on, well, I'm talking to the rock and it's not listening. So maybe I'll hit the rock like I did last time. It worked out pretty good. Yeah, but Hashem said you didn't want to Mekadesh my name. Because I didn't tell you this time to hit the rock. Right? This time you're supposed to hit the rock. But later on, you're not supposed to hit the rock. And then comes along the last thing in the parasha after that. Vayavay Amalek. It says, Vayavay Amalek v'yilachem im Yisrael v'refidim. In a place called Refidim. Rafu Yedeim. Right? We got weakened. We got weakened. Our emunah got weakened. He saw that we kept complaining to Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't have food, we don't have water, we don't have food, we don't have water. We want meat. The Slav, we want meat, give us meat. Only complaints. No emunah. That's when Amalek sets in. Amalek sets in whenever there's no emunah. When you don't have emunah, that's when Amalek sets in. There was a great tzaddik, his name was Rav Pinkus. Rav Shimshon David Pinkus, he was the Rabbin of Fakim. In the down south in Eretz Yisrael. And he died, whatever, he died in a terrible car accident. But okay, either way, he was a tremendous goyim. And he wrote beautiful svarim. And we'll end with this. We have the mitzvah today, as we learned in the parsha of Mechias Amalek. Right? We have to eradicate Amalek. That's a mitzvah upon us. It's a mitzvah upon every single Jew. Right? It's a mitzvah that's upon us even today. But the rabbi asked, how can we eradicate Amalek in the modern society that we live in today? Right? We live in a modern society today. Even if someone came over to you and they said to you, hey, see, I have a pedigree. I'm an Amaleki. Here it is. See, I have paperwork. Shows I'm an Amaleki. You can't do anything. What are you going to do? You're going to kill him? You can't. There's laws. Mashiach's not here. When Mashiach's here, we're going to get rid of all of them. That's not a problem. Like it says, Al Case Ka. Hashem says his kisei, his throne, and his name is not complete so long as Amalek's around. So Rav Pinkus says like this: How are you going to accomplish Mechias Amalek today? How do you do that? He says Amalek comes to us in a special way, in what we want to read. Hear this? Listen to this. Very important. What you want to read. So you want to pick up a newspaper, you want to pick up a novel, or some kind of book, whatever it is. So Rav Pinkus says something amazing. He says like this. He says, when you pick up a sefer that was written by a tzaddik, and you're reading that sefer, he said that's very special. Why is that special? Because all of the kedusha, all of the tahara, all of the holiness and purity of the tzaddik and all his tzidkis is in his pen. And as the tzaddik is writing, he's not putting in just the words. It's his whole life experience is in those words. It's all his life experience is in the words that he's writing. If that's the case, it works the other way also. When you pick up a book that was written by some kind of Rasha, all of his riches, all of his wickedness, and all of his tumah is also in his pen. The same way it works with the tzaddik, it works with the Rasha. So when you pick up that book, and you think, what's the big deal? I'm reading a novel. It's a nice novel. It's cool. It's nice. No problem. That's Amalek telling you to pick it up. Amalek's telling you, pick it up. I want to cool you off. I want to cool off your emunah. Pick up this book. Read it. It's only a book. It's only words. It's a trick. It's a trap. Says Rav Pinkus, it's a trap. So he says, anytime you have the ability and you have a paper and you have a book and you can read this and that and the other thing, and you say, you know what, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to pick up my Tehillim now. I'm going to pick up my Chumash now. I'm going to learn Mishnayos now. I'm going to learn Dvar Halacha now. I learn a piece in Likutei Halacha. I learn whatever. You learn Mishnah Brura. You learn the kids of Shulchan Aruch, whatever you want to learn. He says, you mekayim the mitzvah of Mechias Amalek. How do you like that? You mekayim the mitzvah of Mechias Amalek 110%. Because that's what Amalek is doing today. So, I mean, that's we went through a lot of things in the Parsha. I want to ask you, you have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Abzushia, you have any questions? You have any comments? No. Rabbi Yehuda, any questions, comments? No. Okay. All right. So I thank you all for joining, and Emetz Hashem will continue. We'll have another shir next week, Emetz Hashem. And in the meantime, I wish you all a good Shabbos, and it should be a real Freilich and Shabbos Shira. Okay? And thank you everyone for joining.